Hey guys, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. Let's get on to some busting of the myths. One myth I hear all of the time is all snakes are venomous. That is not true. Not even most snakes are venomous. Not even half the snakes are venomous. Like, maybe a quarter? Probably less. So that one's just straight up not true. So if you're ever thinking that, here's your day to learn that not all snakes are venomous. Number 2 makes a little more sense. Some people think that all reptiles are slimy. There's obviously a few reptiles that are slimy, such as like frogs, which are technically amphibians, but a lot of people count them as reptiles also. Another weird thing. Also, salamanders are also sometimes slimy, or actually they might all be slimy, but I'm not exactly sure. Actually, no, I know they're not. There's some that are not slimy. So there are a few slimy reptiles, but most are like completely dry and scaly, like leopard geckos or snakes or basically anything else except salamanders and maybe a few others, but that's everything that's slimy, so that one's definitely not true. So here's another one that basically only applies to salamanders. People think that lizards can, like all lizards can regrow their limbs. That's not true. Leopard geckos, they can regrow their tail, but that's it. So if they lose a leg,
too bad, so sad, they're not getting another one back.
Salamanders are the only lizard that I know of that can regrow a limb. So it technically is possible, but only very few lizards can actually regrow limbs. Another myth is people think that turtles can come all the way out of their shell, like hermit crabs or something like that. That's not true. Turtles can like suck inside their shells when they're like hiding or like sleeping or something, but they cannot fully come out of their shells. It's literally attached to their spinal cord, so unless they rip themselves apart from their spinal cord, they're not coming out of that shell. So that's definitely a busted myth right there. So another one that's not quite as common, at least I think, is people think that snakes can charm or hypnotize their prey. That's not true. Even like the people who charm snakes, they're not even really charming them, they're just bobbing their head, and they move to the way they're bobbing their head because that's what they do when they're tracking prey. So snakes can't charm, that's it, myth busted. Another one that's pretty common is that reptiles are always aggressive. Most reptiles are actually more afraid of you than you are afraid of them. Like leopard geckos, if you see one in the wild, it's bolting. It's not gonna come and attack you. And also most snakes, which people also think are like really aggressive animals, will run instead of attacking you. The only one I can think of that might want to attack you if it's like real hungry is like a king cobra, which still really unlikely because they do eat bigger things such as like other snakes, or also like an anaconda. I guess if you meet a real hungry anaconda, it might decide to eat you, but if you're next to an anaconda in the wild, you better have some serious training or you better get out of there. So most snakes, not aggressive, so you don't really have to worry there. Another one people think of about reptiles is that they have diseases that can really hurt humans. There are some diseases that they can carry that might hurt a human, but as long as you're being hygienic when handling one, like washing your hands before and after holding a leopard gecko or any reptile, you're not gonna like get a disease or anything. It's not really common at all to get a disease from any reptile, and very few diseases that reptiles can actually get go to humans. They're all generally just reptile diseases and cannot be transmitted to humans, so you're basically safe there. One of the not so common myths is that reptiles live forever, which is not true. I don't know how anyone could think that anything could really live forever, but it's not true. All reptiles die eventually. They're not gods, they're animals. So they do die and that's just a crazy one to me that people actually think that reptiles live forever. The only thing that can technically live forever is this certain type of jellyfish that can regenerate every part of its body, but even they don't because they get eaten, so they don't live forever, they just live until they get eaten. Another one is they'll suffocate if they're not always near water. I'm not sure why people would think this because, I mean, we're humans. Do you suffocate when you're not next to water? I mean, obviously it's different for like a water salamander that breathes water and stuff. It's obviously not going to be able to survive out of water, but basically every reptile except for like a small few don't need to be right next to water all the time. Leopard geckos rarely even drink water out of anything. They generally just get water when they're eating their food or when they like get some lick some dew off a leaf or something. And so they're definitely not suffocating if they don't have water right next to them. So that's just kind of a weird one, but I guess a little bit makes sense, but it's not true. So this one is sort of true. People think that reptiles are dumb. They're obviously not as smart as humans or like a ape or something, but they're pretty smart. They have really good natural instincts. They generally stay away from things that are going to hurt them, such as predators or like drowning or something like that. They're not like a dog. I mean, there are some that are probably as smart as some dogs, but they're pretty smart for something as small as they are in their brain size. They generally are adaptable. They adapt to humans pretty well. Well, most species. Some aren't as adaptable to things, but that's just because of their nature. So they're generally smart for their size, and I would say that one's pretty false because here's a leopard gecko that I see like actively like investigating things. Like he'll walk around my room, just try to like look at stuff, like see what everything is. And he seems pretty smart to me. He's obviously not the smartest species in the world, but seems pretty smart to me. If you like watching content like this, where I give interesting facts about reptiles, how to take care, or different tips on how to feed and just make sure your reptiles have a great life, make sure to subscribe, and I'll keep you updated on all the latest facts and info on leopard geckos or any other reptiles that you ask about. If you have any ideas for videos, make sure to drop it down in the comments, and I'll be sure to do your ideas because I could always use more ideas. And if you're wanting to watch a video where I rate my dream reptiles, it'll be right here. And if you want to see a video that YouTube recommends you to watch from my channel, click right here. Thanks for watching.